Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mission to Inspire. My name is Shola, as you know, and we are joined today by Mr. Roman Fischer. Mr. Roman, how are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us today. So we'll be talking about transforming lives, a journey into his own into Roman's journey, basically, and he will be telling us more about himself. So I'm not going to read his bio. I'm going to leave it to Roman to introduce himself briefly to us before we start.
Yes. So as you know already, of course, my name is Roman. But beyond that, I actually am an actor, model, a bodybuilder, and of course, a high performance coach. So I really love to help people out other than just helping out, myself with my fitness goals. I love and really enjoy helping other people out with their fitness journeys as well, so they can just become better and healthier versions of themselves.
Okay. Wow, that was so brief. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna ask you five this or that questions. As we know, we're gonna be discussing it journey into mind to body anyway, because I think you're more of a fitness coach, is it?
Yeah, I do a combination of acting, modeling, and then fitness. But
Mhm.
yeah, I would say it's kind of, split, down the middle, but I do a lot of fitness so lately.
Lately, okay. I think you look it anyway, we can see.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so which one would you say resonates with you more, cardio or strength training?
Honestly, I would have to say personally just strength training. And I've seen a lot of, benefits and a lot of research that's been done. And really, a lot of the results I've seen for myself and other people that I've trained,
Yeah.
it's been a lot better more oftentimes just to do more strength training. Not to say cardio isn't good and it doesn't have any benefits, because of course it has its own, benefits. It has its own, share of benefits for people, but it's not something that you have to do if you're trying to lose weight, burn fat. But it is one of those like supporting things. But I would definitely say, in short, just to do strength training more
Thank
between the two.
okay. Okay. Thank you for that. High intensive interval training or steady state cardio?
Great question. So really, I'm going to be honest, they both,
Yeah.
just like before, they both have their own share of benefits
Mhm.
that could be good. I'll say this, it really just depends on your goals, your experience level, and really what you like to like personal preference, that is. So if you're trying to burn a lot of calories in a quick amount of time and you're trying to be more efficient with your time in the gym, not
Yeah.
spend too much time in the gym and just maximize the time that you're there so you can just kind of get in, get out. I really then personally recommend doing, HIIT or high intensity interval training at
Right.
that point. And yeah, having that with some circuit training.
Okay.
Now, if you're trying to, not be as, quick with your workouts, if you're one of those people more that like to just go into the gym
Hmm.
and take their time and not rush through your workout, then I
Yeah.
really do suggest doing, you know, slower, um, low intensity workouts and cardio. So I don't like steady state cardio, basically. I suggest doing more of that if
Mhm.
you're not trying to rush through your workouts as much and you just kind of like to take your time, basically. Because
Okay.
some people like, the rush of getting through a workout quicker, but some people do. And I personally like to take, more time on the treadmill. That's just me. Because I usually go pretty hard with weights anyway, so I don't usually do a lot of high intensity interval training myself.
Right.
But if you're trying to burn the maximum amount of calories, and
Mhm.
if you're also trying to maximize your time in the gym, and
Yeah.
be productive with your time and not spend too much time in the gym,
Hmm.
definitely do more high intensity interval training then.
Uh,
But so it really does boil down to that, like how much time do you want to be in the gym?
exactly.
Do you want
Yes.
to burn a lot of calories quicker?
Hmm.
Or do you want to not burn them as quick and just kind of take more time on your cardio and not rush through your cardio sessions? So
Wow.
it does boil down to that, and by extension, your personal preference as well. I will say this to you, what also can determine that to you is if you're already lifting super heavy in the gym,
Mhm.
I don't really recommend doing high intensity interval training for cardio at all.
You don't.
Um, because if you're already wearing down your joints and
Yeah.
your muscles by working out with super heavy weights,
Hmm.
especially if you're doing like 5 sets of five, because I know a lot of people will maximize the weight they can use doing lower reps like that.
Yeah.
So if you're doing that and performing those reps at such a heavy weight,
Hmm.
I don't recommend wearing your body out much more beyond that by doing, a lot of high intensity interval training and intense cardio, basically. I suggest more, just low intense training on the treadmill or maybe a light walk, just something very minimal on your joints, basically. But if you're doing lighter weight, then yeah, you can definitely do that. So by the end of the day, it just really depends personal preference, how much time you want to be in the gym, and really too, how hard were you training in the gym? And that can determine if, your body's going to be able to really handle and withhold
Yeah.
doing that, high intensity interval training.
Wow. Thank you. That's a lot of information in there for any one of us trying to lose weight. I'm trying to lose,
Yes.
so I'm getting a lot of info.
Yeah. But yeah, they both have their benefits for sure. If you're trying to lose weight, burn fat, I recommend both.
Yeah.
But it again, yeah, it just depends on like how much time you want to be in the gym and your preference and your experience level.
Yeah. Thank you. So yoga or pilates?
It's funny you ask. I don't honestly do very much of either of the two. I usually just weight lift, do some cardio, and then do some stretching at the end of my workouts. But I will say, I just like the couple other questions, I don't see one being really worse or better than the other. I say they're both good, especially if you're just trying to unwind, relax, and gain a little flexibility. I don't see a problem with either of them personally on that.
All right then. Mindset or nutrition?
Ooh, man, they both go hand in hand, I will say, because you kind of have one with the other.
Mhm.
If your mindset, I will say this, they're both very important.
Right.
I'll lead with that. Past that, though, I'd say if I had to even prioritize one of the two just a little more, I will say while nutrition's very important, I will say mindset's just a tad bit more important. Not by a lot, but just enough
Mhm.
where it's a little more important. And the reason I say that is because while it does come down to your nutrition, which
Yes.
will make or break your results,
Yes.
it's even more important than physical activity in the gym. But I will say, while that's true, if your mindset's not right, if your mindset is not at all in the right place,
Hmm.
then it won't really matter if you're trying to have good nutrition because you won't have that motivation and that willpower to have that good nutrition to see results. So you have to make sure that your mindset is set right, no pun intended. And then from there, you just got to make sure that you're going to follow through with whatever you're going to eat, how much you're going to eat, and track it, properly and track it accordingly. So just make sure your mindset's in the right place first so you can actually have a good agenda, a good strategy, and a good plan for eating properly, eating healthy, and just getting the results then ultimately that you want to see. So
Yeah.
if your mind's not right, though, you're not going to really be able to follow through with
That's,
a good plan.
that's very true. Thank you so much for that. Oh, one more question. Free weights or machines? Which one do you do normally?
So for what I do usually, I actually do more. I do a combination, but I mainly do free weights more
Free.
often than not. And the
Wow.
reason I say that is, well, for one, I have more experience in the gym, so my joints are more used to that. But also, when you do more free weights, it actually activates more of your joints and muscles. And when you have that, into play in your workouts, when
Mm.
that's all, you know, totally in motion, you're actually going to build your muscles a lot easier and see results quicker.
Yeah.
And you're also going to lose weight easier if you're
Mhm.
trying to lose weight,
Yeah.
because it really does challenge your body more because it activates more
Hmm.
muscles and just more parts of your body and more joints in your body. So
Right.
I recommend, if you're more experienced in fitness, definitely do free weights, especially if you're trying to gain muscle, lose weight. But if you're just starting out, I do recommend doing more machine assisted exercises first. So you'll still get the results, luckily, as long as you have the nutrition in place and you're doing your workouts at least with a decent amount of form.
Hmm.
But while you won't activate as many muscles and as many joints in your body, so you won't get as many of the results you'd want, you'll still get results.
Still get it.
So, and it'll be safer too, because if you're not really used to working out, and if you're fairly new to working out and weightlifting, then I don't recommend, doing free weights because it can be more dangerous. Because then
Oh,
everything is upon how you're doing each workout, your form, and just everything, the whole execution of it. So
right.
make sure and all that to, if you're new to, fitness, by all means, yes, you want to see results quicker.
Hmm.
Yes, you want to activate as much of your body when you're actually weightlifting,
Yeah.
but don't set yourself up for injury. So if you're new to, fitness, if you're new to fitness, definitely do more, assisted exercises, not free weights.
No.
And then eventually you can shift over. You can then eventually shift over to free weights.
Wow. Thank you so much. That is so, so helpful for those of us embarking on a weight
Yeah,
journey. Thank you so much.
yeah,
Thank
for sure.
So actually, what inspired you to embark on your journey of helping others transform their physical and mental health?
Yeah, it's funny you ask. So I was not really a huge fitness fanatic, as I say.
Really?
Not for yeah, it took a while. And there were definitely a few events in my life that actually pushed me and really motivated me to actually jump into fitness for myself. So the few events that actually took place and that actually happened,
Mhm.
which led me into fitness where I'm
Oh,
at now and what I do today,
yeah.
for a living and just for my overall health, even. It was really first, funny enough, my younger brother who actually started weightlifting and picking up the weights. Him and I were throughout school growing up, we were fairly skinny, both fairly skinny kids growing up in school.
Mhm.
And so seeing him just pick up the weights, get that motivation to do that, and then, but yeah, just by extension, seeing him build some lean muscle and strength on his body, that really inspired me. I'm thinking to myself, if he can do that, my younger brother can pick up the weights, start building up some strength and muscle.
Yeah.
Surely I can do the same thing too then. And I mean, it's like, hey, it's my younger brother, so I can't let him pass me.
Mm.
So yeah, I just decided, I'm like, yeah. So if you can do it, I'm gonna do this too. Or at the very least, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm
Yeah.
gonna see what I can do with it.
Mm.
So I started then picking up the weights. I wanted to start seeing, a change in my body. I wanted to gain some muscle. I wanted to gain some strength. I also wanted to develop, a six pack too, because not that I was like, chunky or anything, but I didn't have like a lot of definition around my abdominal area.
Mm.
So I was kind of skinny fat, if you want to call it a certain way. I wasn't fat, but I wasn't muscular. I had just a little bit just a little bit of fat over my stomach area, but not like overweight fat, just enough where I couldn't see my abs really though.
Mm,
So I was trying to tone that part up and then gain muscle and strength. So him doing that with the weightlifting inspired me to jump into the weightlifting aspect and just really the whole physical activity aspect of fitness.
mm,
After that, there were a couple other things that inspired me in my whole fitness journey. And this was more so on the nutritional side of it, though, not so much the physical side of it.
mm,
So the two other things remaining, I'd say, that really did push me into a healthier, eating lifestyle
yeah,
were a couple things. So really just first researching what's all in our foods, like what's all in our drinks, and
mhm,
just seeing all the ingredients that go into them.
you're
And
right.
oftentimes I know it does depend where you live, especially like by country,
Mhm,
because in a lot of the countries, I know where you're at, in a lot of other countries, they ban a lot of the ingredients that they have here in the United States. I mean, a lot of the stuff in our foods and drinks is banned, like in Europe, for example,
mhm.
and even a lot of parts of Asia. And that's what's so crazy. I mean, just knowing that right now, but finding that out back then was super crazy for me. I'm like, man, all these artificial colors and all these like dyes and all the sugar that they put into our foods and
Mhm.
drinks, not
Mm,
even to mention just one bottle of soda or Pepsi has at least just as much, if not more, than the recommended daily amount of sugar for added sugar. I'm like, that's insane. Just that alone. Not even to mention all the preservatives, MSG,
yeah.
monosodium glutamine,
Mhm.
which can lead to cancer, especially over time. So
Yeah.
just all these things, all these ingredients, not even to mention a lot of them you can't even pronounce. I mean,
Wow.
I could just barely pronounce that one, monosodium glutamine. But there's like ones I can't even probably pronounce to save my life. And
Wow.
then we have, some food labels that have probably 50 plus ingredients on them sometimes. And it's like, this is insane. Just for like bread, there's like 50 ingredients. I'm like, first off, there shouldn't be that many ingredients to make a loaf of bread.
True.
Second off, if it has that many ingredients, especially ones I can't pronounce, it's probably not good for me. So really just taking all that into consideration, I just started to be more hesitant about what I was putting in my body from what I was eating to what I was drinking. And
Right.
then, of course, beyond that, there were other things that happened, but this was a huge one. In addition to really just doing my own, due diligence and research on what I was eating and drinking, my grandpa actually also, and this was a very, very difficult, very tough time in my life back then. But having my grandpa, who I was pretty close to growing up, but having him just pass away, due to his eating habits and just, you know, being a huge sugar addict. Of course, that wasn't the only reason he got cancer, but that was one of the key driving reasons that
Mm,
led to that. So knowing that obviously took a toll on me mentally, emotionally, and just very much just as a whole in my life, just as a whole, it really did, put a weight on me. But while it did put me in that place, that dark spot, that dark place for, I'd say, at least a month for sure, it also later ultimately inspired me to really use that pain for fuel, use
mm.
that, pain for fire
Yeah.
and fuel to actually inspire me to not go down to not go down that same path.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is I was actually a sugar addict just like him. I was a sugar addict just like he was. So knowing that and sharing that same addiction that he had kind of scared me, and it woke me up, and it made me realize and really think to myself, man, he was a sugar addict. I'm a sugar addict.
Mm,
This happened to him. yes, it probably took a lot of time to catch up to him, and evidently he did,
Mm,
but I don't want to go down that same route. Even though I'll be okay for a while, probably, I don't want to go down that same path. And
mm,
I want to just be better. I want to be able to show up better for myself. I want to show up better for other people. I want to live longer. I
mm,
want just a better, healthier, happier quality of life.
of course.
And because of all that in a consideration, along with doing my due diligence
Mm,
with all the stuff that's in our foods and drinks and just
yeah.
all that research in combination with my grandpa, I turned over a whole new leaf and I just ate better. I drank better. Now, I'll admit it was not an overnight process by any means, like most things,
Right.
but it was something I worked at gradually. And just like it is with smoking, it's an addiction if you're eating unhealthy, but over time you can wean yourself off of it. And that's what I did. I just gradually weaned myself off of all that unclean, unhealthy, dirty eating, basically.
Mm.
And ultimately, I just felt better than I've ever felt before. So I'm glad I did that. I'm so glad I did that because in the long run, I feel better now. Yeah,
Great.
just it's amazing.
Wow.
It's so much better. You yeah, I feel better, I sleep better, I focus better, and I'm able to just be more productive, happier, just healthier. That
Yeah.
way I can help people do the same thing. And really, it's not only helped me with my fitness journey,
Hmm.
but it's helped me want to help other people because I started feeling the endorphins too of the workouts and
From
just the good positive energy of eating cleaner too. So
mm,
that inspired me then to want to share that same, lifestyle with everyone else around me, starting with people I knew and loved. And then from there, I just branched out.
oh, wow. That is interesting. So, how do you keep yourself and your clients motivated and committed to this journey of fitness?
Yeah. So how I do that is first and foremost, I always realize for myself, and then I also have them realize too, that it's a journey and it's not an overnight thing. It's progress over perfection.
Mm,
So that's the key thing, first and foremost, realizing that it's a never-ending journey.
mm,
It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. It's not something that you can just get through in one day, in one setting. It does take time and it takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication. But really, that's what makes the destination that much better. So just having them realize that and understand that this is an ongoing journey and it's not something that's just going to end right away by any means. So
mm,
that's the very first thing. And then from there, I have them realize all the accomplishments that they've made so far. So anything small, anything big, and anything in between. But
mhm,
even the smallest of accomplishments, I make sure that they write that out and say it out loud if they have to. And I'll do this like on coaching calls with them, where I'll keep them accountable with their goals, see how everything is going with their workouts and meals, but also have them realize that they've made some accomplishments, even the small ones count. And that'll keep them just more positive and that'll keep them more motivated to want to keep pushing forward.
mhm,
So
mhm.
those are just a couple of the many things that I do.
You do. Okay. Oh, great. Wow. And it's the same for your clients as well, because what
Yes.
practice is what you teach them anyway.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, gotta literally just practice what you preach. I definitely am a firm believer in that. It's
Yeah.
good to really just share that same lifestyle with other people and keep people motivated in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your or some common misconceptions about fitness and health that you encounter, and how did you address those when you encountered them?
Yeah. So one of the huge, huge misconceptions, and it usually does revolve around nutrition, but one of them happens to be that carbs make you fat. Obviously, this is ludicrous. I mean, carbs themselves don't make you fat. Carbs are a macronutrient that will not make you fat, but in themselves. I mean, it's just a macronutrient like proteins and fats are both. Now, what does and what can make you fat is obviously not being very active, but really what it comes down to is your whole caloric intake. Basically, how many calories are you putting in your body as a whole, which can encompass and includes proteins, fats, and carbs all. So as long as you're maintaining your, caloric intake and that's in check, and you're at least having as many calories as you burn off,
Mm-hmm.
or having less calories than you burn off, you'll either maintain or lose weight. The only way you're going to gain weight and potentially gain fat is if you're not very active and you're eating a lot more calories than you burn off.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. A lot of people get this weird misconception that eating bread and eating all these carbs are going to make them fat. Now, I'll admit that there are healthier types of carbs. Like you do want to try to, at least avoid or eliminate if you can, or at the very least limit, unhealthier carbs like simple carbs, such as, sweets, candies, pastries, things of that nature.
Right.
Now, having more complex carbs, I recommend as far as carbohydrates because, fruits and vegetables and whole grains, those are better for you and your overall, health, especially in the long run. It'll keep your blood sugar levels a lot lower. They won't be, spiking. It'll just be a lot better for your whole internal system and body.
Oh.
But that's one misconception, though, is that carbs make you fat, which is not definitely not true. So that's one. There are definitely a few others, though. Another one that I've came across is just that fat makes you fat. And again, it's just like with carbs, fat, while it does, per gram have the most calories in it, for every 1 gram of fat is 9 calories, whereas every 1 gram of protein or carbs is 4 calories. So while fat does have the most calories between the three, it's not in itself going to make you fat. Again, as long as you're in a caloric maintenance or deficit, you're not going to gain weight or gain fat. So just really knowing that is huge because a lot of people get that wrong too.
Okay. Wow. Wow. I just thought carb contains a lot of starch. And starch, although it's converted into energy, could also convert into fat. And it doesn't, you don't shed them as fast as you would shed a protein fat. Well, I don't know if I'm right.
Well, yeah, so like with carbs, I will admit protein is the most satiating macronutrient and it is burned off the quickest out of all of them. So I'll agree that protein is like the very best macronutrient to focus on if you're trying to lose weight and lose fat. Because again, it does get you full the longest or the quickest. It does get you full the quickest.
Uh-huh.
It has the highest thermic effect. So your metabolism will burn it off quicker than fats or carbs both. So
Yeah.
I'll admit that is 100% true with that. Now
Okay.
with carbs in themselves, especially if you're having the healthier carbs like, whole grains, sweet potatoes, fruits
Mhm.
and vegetables, that those in themselves won't make you fat. As long as you're not having a huge excess amount of carbs or any amount of macronutrient. Like you can have too much protein and if you eventually have way too much protein, you can still gain weight. So as long as you're not having too much of any macronutrient, and basically by extension, as long as you're not having too many calories, you're
Yeah.
not going to gain weight.
You're not gonna
That's
get.
what it comes down to is your whole caloric intake by the end of the day.
Ah, I didn't know that. Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, because I mean, technically, you can even eat unhealthier foods. Like you could have a slice of cake every now and then and
Mhm.
still lose weight if you're in a caloric deficit. Now, I won't recommend that you have a lot of that in your, meal plan because even if you have only so much,
Yeah.
cake and your calories are low,
Yeah.
yes, you can still lose weight, for example, but it won't be as good for your body's, internal system in the long run.
Right. Oh my God. Wow. That is so informative. Thank you.
Yeah, which is actually another, misconception that you can't ever eat, unclean and lose weight because you can as long as your calories are in check.
Right.
But it's not good to do it very often. It's better to maybe have one cheat meal a week, but make sure your calories are in check.
One cheap meal a week.
That's what I recommend. That way you're
Oh,
not
like McDonald's.
splurging. Yeah, that way you're not splurging and you're still getting the results you want, and you're better for your body that way. You're doing a lot of good for your body by not splurging on a lot of unhealthy
Uh,
foods and sweets.
I'm gonna make sure my kids listen to this.
Yes, it's important.
Oh my God. Right. Thank you so much. Do you have any inspirational advice for our audience out there?
Yes. So if you're someone that's just starting your fitness journey, or maybe you've already started your fitness journey,
Mhm.
or maybe you're about to start your fitness journey, wherever you're at with your whole fitness journey and just your life in general,
Okay.
I want to tell you this: motivation, it gets you going, but consistency keeps you growing. So you got to
Wow.
remember that while motivation is important, it's not the end all be all, and it can come and go. So you got to make sure to back that motivation up with consistency to keep yourself growing through thick and thin.
Right.
And that
Thank
applies to fitness and even outside of fitness.
you. Exactly. That's what I wanted to say, that consistency applies to everything that we do, actually. Thank you so much. For people that want to contact you, how can they contact you?
Yeah, so if you want to connect with me one-on-one, there's a few different ways. You can actually find me on social media, mainly at Roman Fischer Official on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, if you use LinkedIn. And also, if you're trying to just get results, work on your fitness goals and your fitness journey, and if you need some help doing that, whatever goal you have with your fitness journey, then
Yeah.
you can find me at romanfisherofficial.com, and you can fill out an application. And yeah, I would definitely love to help you out with your fitness goals.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you. And until next time, it's Roman and Shola on Mission to Inspire. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Like, follow, comment. Until next time. Goodbye.